Hello, dear ones. It is me, Suzanne, from Making It in Maine. I'm at my sewing machine and I am going to start. Yes, I'm going to start something. And don't you worry, for those of you who are keeping tabs on me and my unfinished projects, I was working on hand quilting last night on one of my many unfinished projects. That one is very close, so that was great. But I am going to work on today a little square in a square, small doll size quilt using Reproduction fabric, and I showed you some packets, I think. Sometimes I just never know. I should research before I start a video, right? To see what I've done and what I have not done. But I believe I showed you some packets, some 6-inch packets, and also some charm packets from the Reproduction fabric shop that I used to frequent. And Cindy, the owner of that shop, it's no longer open, had put 24 6-inch squares of Reproduction fabric from the Sailors Creek Civil War Reproduction line by Judy Roche and Corinne Kramer. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. So there were the squares, the 6-inch squares in there. There was a square and a square foundation piecing pattern, and I have printed out 4 of those because this is going to, oh, I think I should have printed 6. Anyway, I can print more, but it's going to be a 4 by 6-inch little quilt, and there's what it looks like. And here are this is what Cindy cut for the binding of the little quilt. This, did I say binding? This is the fabric that Cindy chose for the borders of this little quilt. And this is what she chose for the binding. And this is what she chose for the backing. But I like this fabric better. And though it is a larger piece, and I would not be able to use this for backing, it's with the fabric, this would not be big enough for the backing, but I want this to be the binding because I think it's a prettier print than this one. I like this print, and I actually have a bag that I started years ago with this fabric. And the reason that one did not get finished is because I didn't know what I wanted to use for the contrasting bits of the bag. So that's why it's unfinished. But though I do like this for the borders on this little guy, I like this one better. So when I finish it, I will figure out what to do for backing on this little quilt. So right now I have heated up my iron The small iron that I used to have beside me was a travel Rowenta that I bought many years ago to take with me to France because the voltage is different there. So I needed an iron that I could use in Europe. Well, that little iron I had been using beside my sewing machine, so I didn't have to use my great big honking one. And I just tried plugging it in today, and it wouldn't even heat up at all. And recently, it just didn't seem to be getting hot enough. So before Christmas, for the Black Friday sales and all that, I found a deal on Joann Fabric for one of these lovely little Oliso irons. Well, it got delivered from Joann.com, and it didn't work. It would not turn on at all. I called Joann Fabric and asked if I could return it in the store. They said I could. So I took it down to the closest one to me to return it, and they said I could not return it in the store because it had a cord. What difference does that make? They told me I would have to call and go through Joann.com. They gave me a number. I called that number, and I was told that they would not take it back. I don't even think they were going to give me my money back until I said how outrageous that was. So this is typically, I think, an $80 iron. I got it through Joann for $47. So in the end, they were going to refund my money, but were not going to let me have another iron at that price. That is terrible, a terrible store policy. They told me I would have to go through Oliso. Oh, this is before they were even going to refund me anything. And I said, well, that is outrageous. You are the ones who should have to go through Oliso. I purchased it from you. I shouldn't have to do it. Anyway, I was pretty disgusted that I was not going to get an iron for that sale price. So I then did call Oliso, and they were very lovely and just sent me a label to ship the one from Joann to them, and as soon as they got it, they would ship me out a new one. And here it is. Well, it turns on. You can see the power light. And I think I emptied all the water out, but it's got some steam from that side, but the other button isn't shooting steam out the bottom. So I'm just having quite terrible luck with irons lately. I will call Oliso tomorrow, which is a Monday, and I'm sure they'll make it right by me, but I just can't get over what a time I'm having just trying to get a small working iron beside my sewing table. Blah-de-blah, enough about that. I hope you haven't run away. But so right now I'm just going to, these squares of fabric have been in a Ziploc baggie, and some of them are, and they were folded in half. So I'm just going to give them a press. You see some of them. I'm going to give them a press, and then I'm going to start cutting. So there's several of the prints right there. And some I've pulled because I don't know if I'm going to use them. Let me just pull the ones that I'm quite sure I'm going to use. I'll show you those. Others. Probably not the most ideal way to show you, but there's some more. And these are the ones I'm not sure I'm going to use. Where's the black one? Ah, right there. This one I'm definitely not going to use because it is so much darker than the others. It's black, and typically speaking, I'm not that fond of black in a quilt. Yes, I'll probably use that one, and I'll probably use the brown version of that. But it's these stripes that I'm not sure I'm going to use. I'm just not sure. So I may substitute those with some other reproduction fabrics I have. But if you look here, see how there's just those two very dark blocks that just stick right out, and that's why I don't want to use the black. And also, here's the stripes that I'm not sure I want to use. I just don't know. I just don't think a stripe looks as good in it. So I think I might substitute those. I'm going to go with my gut feeling. Here I am pointing up here. I'm going to go with my gut feeling. All right, I'm going to get these pressed and do some cutting, and I'll be back in a bit. It has been so long since I have done foundation paper piecing. I had to refresh my memory. My first stitch line, I knew something wasn't right, because I had to put, here's the right side of my paper and the wrong side, and I put the, I put the wrong side against the wrong side, so the wrong side of the fabric against the wrong side of the paper, and lined it up, held it up to the light, so that I could see that my fabric was going beyond the center square. I think you can kind of see that. A little bit of the shadow there, yeah. So, and then I proceeded to stitch on the line between the number 1 and the number 2. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't think I should be seeing the thread. I don't think I should be seeing that. So I had to pause for a minute and go refresh my memory. Anywho, and then I had to go up in my messy sewing room, my disarray, to find my foundation paper piecing at an 1/8 ruler. And after using this just now, I thought, I want to get and add a 4th. Let me show you my first square in a square block. There it is. And let me show you how scant See, that's an 1/8 of an inch seam. And though you're using a much smaller stitch length, it just doesn't, that's awfully small. I'm gonna have to research and find out why you do an 1/8 of an inch, and can't you do 1/4 of an inch? Don't know if I should know that or not, but I have not torn away my paper yet. And when I do my next block, I just rough cut this out, but when I do my next block, I'm going to cut along the dashed line so that I don't have all this excess paper. But anyway, I love a square and a square. I don't know that I love paper piecing. I've done a fair amount of it in the past. You've seen my little tumbler quilts, and I've done a few other foundation paper piecing projects, but it's kind of fiddly. It really is kind of fiddly, and so don't know that I'll be doing a ton of it going forward. We'll see. Maybe it's just that I haven't done it for so long, but I'm gonna show you how easy it is to peel away the paper. Once you have once you've got a small stitch length, and you're using, this is foundation paper, piecing paper, but it's the same sort of cheap quality as like children's doodle pads. You could just get a doodle pad and cut it to the size of printer paper and use that. So there it is. There is my completed square in a square. I should measure it and see if it's the size that it's supposed to be. Square to 3.5. So let's see. Let's see if it's 3.5. Looks pretty much on the money to me. Pretty much on the money. Three and a half. 3.5. So anyway, pretty. Brown and blue, brown and pink, brown and blue. I like the combination of both. So, yeah. Let's see what's next. Let's see what I show you next. Happy New Year, everyone. This is part two, but it's all going to be part of the same video that I share with you. After the new year, I'm in a different shirt, so it's a different day. And I am still working on this little quilt with Reproduction fabrics. And I have finished cutting out all of my pieces, and I am ready to continue sewing some more blocks. So I'm going to tip the camera down and show you how it's done. They're just squares in a square. And first thing I'm going to do is reduce my stitch length to 1.8. And I think I mentioned I should have gone back to look at what I've already recorded, but I think I've told you about my iron dilemma and how I've been trying to get an Aliso M3 Pro iron, and the second one I got did not work either. Well, it ironed, but the steam vents, both of the steam vents didn't work, so that has been shipped off to Aliso yet again. And so in the meantime, my husband and I had been to a new sort of discounty store in our area. We had never been and just wanted to see what they had to offer. I consider most of it to be junky. They do have a few organic food items, so we picked up a little bit of that. But as we were walking the aisles, my husband noticed a small travel iron for $14, which I was like, I don't need that. It's probably junky too for $14, but anyway, he went to the grocery store another day after that, and I was without a small iron next to my sewing machine, and he swung in there unbeknownst to that discounty store, unbeknownst to me, and picked up that $14 iron. And this is it. I have never ever heard of this brand, Turbulence. I thought it sounded like a pharmaceutical drug. You know how weird all those pharmaceutical names are. Well, it sounded kind of like that to me. But anyway, I've never heard of this brand. I ought to Google it. But I tell you what, this ironed my blocks flatter than the Aliso iron. Better than my little travel Rowenta iron that stopped working. So I was pretty amazed by this. The only thing I do not like about it is the non-stick sole plate. I don't like non-stick anything because in my mind it means chemicals and heating up the chemicals in that sole plate. But for now, it's a marvel, doing the job and then some. So I'm grateful for it for right now. All right, without further ado, let me tip you down. And this is, I don't know if you've ever done paper piecing, but this is how it's done. And this is a postcard weight thing, little postcardy thing that I use when I am folding the paper over to cut with my add an eighth. I've got to get an add a quarter because I really do like the idea of a 1/4 inch seam better than an 1/8 of an inch seam, because an 1/8 of an inch is just so tiny. Anyway, that's what I have, and this is how it goes. Right side of the paper, wrong side of the paper. So you match. I will just go, this is such an odd print. Reminds me of a bloodshot eyeball. Anyway, I don't think I want to use that for my demo just because it's such an oddball print. Let me choose. I think I'll choose this set. I will choose this one, the brown and blue, which I think is so pretty, and then this sort of burgundy and blue. All right, so wrong side. And the wrong side of my fabric. Whoops, yes, that is the wrong side. So I put wrong side to wrong side. And I want to be covering this square and have enough going around. I think you can see through there. You can see the top of the fabric there. So you want to have it pretty much equal distance around. And then I need one of my triangles. And then I am going to, normally you go, so this is number 1. Normally you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order. But as long as you're doing opposite corners first and then opposite corners, it really doesn't, for this one, you really don't have to follow the numbers. So, but for giggles, I'll follow the numbers here. All right, so I then put right sides together. And there again, I kind of want an equal distance overhanging my paper with those edges, those tips of the triangle. And so now let me tip you down. And let's zoom. Oopsies. Why isn't that zooming in? Maybe I need to use my other fingers. Hold on. Wow. Okay, that doesn't want to zoom in. Let me move my little waste can and pull you in closer this way. All right, let's see if you can see. Hopefully you can see. Let's see. No, we need to back it up. Back it up. Pardon me. I'm not used to filming from this angle. All right, so now there it is. I'm going to now carefully, I could stick a pin in this, but I'm just going to be very careful that those fabrics don't move or shift. And I'll just hold it up to the light and double check that the square is lined up nicely. All right, and then so now I am going to just sew along the line between the 1 and the 2. A 1 and a 2. All right, let me put my reading spectacles on and drop my needle right into that corner. And you can backstitch a bit if you want, and I think I will. I'm gonna go forward a couple of stitches and then just go back a couple. Should probably do that in reverse. Start forward and then go back a couple and forward a couple. But anyway, all right, cruising along that line. And then I will back it up a couple of stitches and cut my thread. So there's my stitch line and on the back. So now I take my postcard and line it up with the stitch line, fold the paper forward, exposing the seam, and now lay my, okay, wait, you can't see that, can you? Let's move it up. Wow, okay, I've got to adjust here. That's better. Sorry, folks. Bear with me. I'm planning to order a different tripod that's better for top-down viewing. All right, so then this butts right up against the edge of my postcard because it has a little lip. So that rests up against the edge of the postcard. And with my rotary cutter, I just cut right along the ruler. There we go. And so now there you see the tiny little 1/8 inch seam. And then I can flip that over. Now I'm going to, where are my scissors? They're relocated. I'll just use my rotary cutter. I'm just going to snip off the dog ears there. Get them out of my way. Okay, and so now I'm going to flip it back over. I could press that now, but I'm going to wait until I do this other opposite side. So I'm going to do the same thing, right sides of the fabric together, kind of having equal distance on either side of the paper. Flip it over. And that has shifted a wee bit. So carefully flip it over. Now I'm going to sew down the line between the 1 and the 3. Okay, this time I'm going to start past the corner and go back. Back it up. Okay, and then forward. All right, that way I don't have like 3 stitches atop of each other. And almost to the end, and back it up and cut my thread. And I'm just going to repeat that process again, putting my card on the stitch line, folding it over, and cutting along there. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to, oops, cut those little dog ears off. This is my new rotary cutter. Isn't it gorgeous? I did not have this this size. I have a 60 millimeter and what is this one? A 22 millimeter maybe? But what ugly colors. I saw this one yesterday and I didn't think I had this size. It wasn't positive, but oh, I just love the happy colors. It's a Kaffe Facet. It's lightweight. The quality doesn't seem, it's not as heavy. So the quality just doesn't seem as good as the Olfas, but I just love those colors. So I bought it. All right, let me press these. Set my seams first. And then press open. All right. And now I'm ready for the other sides. Okay. Stitcheroo. That was more than a couple of stitches, but locking, but that's okay. And back. I went with a friend to Portsmouth, New Hampshire yesterday, and we stopped at the quilt shop there, which is so delightful. That's where I got this rotary cutter, but I always forget about the parking situation there, and the parking, you know, you have to pay to park, and I just always forget. And well, the first time I got a ticket there, well, the only time I got a ticket there, I just was not aware at all that there was a parking kiosk. And so I got a $30 ticket, which I was not happy about. Well, silly me, when we parked across the street from the quilt shop yesterday, I did not remember the dang parking meter situation. And So when we were leaving the shop, I was asking the owner about, you know, parking, where was the best place to park. And she said, well, you definitely don't want to park in the lot across the street because that's $14 an hour. And parking on the street is $2 an hour. And so she poked her head out to show us where the kiosk was, and I then realized, oh my goodness, I totally forgot about that. And she said, I said, we're across the street. And she said, well, here comes the meter person, so you better hurry. So I took off running to get across the street to move my car. My friend thought I was going to get hit by a car. Just gonna press these. Anyway, we got in the car, and my friend noticed that the meter person was looking toward us and kind of smiled. She thought he knew what was afoot, that we were trying to get out of there fast. So we did, no ticket. Gosh, I was very happy about that. I do not like throwing money in the toilet, which a parking ticket is basically throwing your money in the toilet. All right, so there are all the triangles sewn on, and so now I'm going to get my ruler to, let's go down a little further, to square this up. And I just lined my, lined up 1 3/4 down the center here, diagonally. And that works nicely, but now I'm going to flip it over and do 3 1/2 from this side of the, whoops, hello, big kitty. Flip that around, Suzanne. Gonna do the other 2 sides from here because the paper is a little off, and you'll see in just a second. So I still could have done it from the paper side, but no matter. Just want to double check. 3 1/2. Okay. There we are. Okay, you see that? Can you see that the paper is just a little bit short, not quite 1/4 of an inch from the outside of the square. So now, here's the square. Very dark fabrics. I probably should have chosen something lighter to go with this, but I matched things up, I don't know, as I paired up my fabrics as I thought they should be, So now all I have to do is tear away the paper. And the reducing your stitch length really perforates that paper, making it very easy to tear away. And this is such lightweight paper, like children's doodle paper, so it tears away very easily. Wow, you know what, I forgot to do my 1/8 inch there, but you know, I don't really need to. And here I was saying that I wish I had a add 1/4 instead of add 1/8. So I don't know if I want to take that away or not. I think I will just leave it. But anyway, there is the square. All right, I'm going to continue on with making the rest. I've got all these pairs to do, so I will keep going. I thought I would show you the 6 blocks that I have done so far, and then show you what I decided to do before I continue stitching my blocks. Here are the 6 that are done. Well, actually, I have 7 done, but I didn't put this one in because it's the opposite of that one. So I just laid these 6 together so you could see those. And now I will show you what I decided to do because I thought it would speed things along. I decided it would be much faster if I have them all ready together and they're pinned, so I can just, instead of getting the fabrics lined up one at a time, I can just buzz down one side, and I can also do some chain piecing, I think. So that's how I'm attacking it. That's what I came up with that I thought would speed things along. Chain piecing does not work because I would have to keep stitching through here, and I'm not trimming off the dog ears before I start, and then to try to line up the next corner was just way too nonsensical. So it's just one at a time. Having the pins in attaching each piece definitely speeds the piecing process up for sure. That's going to be a wrap for today. This video is already quite long. I hope your new year 2025 is off to a good start. I hope you're in good health, and I hope you have happy things to look forward to in 2025. I know I'm looking forward to lots of wonderful things coming in 2025, and one of the wonderful things that I have coming up is at the end of the month, at the end of January, I will be going to Italy to visit my brother. My sister is going with me. My brother rented a place there for 6 months. So this is the time to seize the moment, as I will not have to spend money on lodgings, and he has been to Italy a gazillion times, speaks the language a bit, and knows his way around. So it's going to be super exciting, and hopefully I will do a bit of filming from there to share with you upon my return. All right, dear ones, from my heart to yours, I hope to see you back here soon. And I would love it if you haven't yet subscribed. I'd love it if you did that. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see others, give me a thumbs up to let YouTube and me know that you enjoy my content. If you know anybody else who might enjoy my content, you could share it with them. If you want to know when another video is dropping, landing, you could hit the notifications bell. So, dear ones, I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.